Remember when Invincible went head-to-head with Titan? A powerful villain turned unlikely ally? Well, our hero's penchant for helping strangers in need hasn't changed. In fact, his next encounter might just be his most unexpected challenge yet. I would like to refer to this encounter as one of Invincible's rare moments. We begin with Invincible soaring through the night sky, his superhuman senses on high alert when something peculiar caught his eye. A figure was walking on the side of a building, defying gravity with each step, as if stuck to the concrete by an invisible force. Invincible goes after the guy, asking, "Who exactly are you supposed to be?" Immediately, the guy turns around and points a weapon at Invincible, saying he should back off, but the moment the stranger recognizes Invincible, he backs down. He tells Invincible he can't fight him because he doesn't stand a chance. He thought he was going to encounter a hero like Rex Splode. Invincible breaks it to him that Rex is dead, and the guy apologizes, saying he had no idea, and immediately surrenders to Invincible, begging him not to punch him. Invincible sees this guy as a reasonable guy and assures him he won't punch him. Then, he proceeds to ask the guy about the weapon he pointed at him. The stranger explains to him that the weapon is a gravity gun, which distorts the gravitational field around the area it's fired into. He explains that the boots allow him to alter gravity around him, just like the gravity gun. It's a pretty good but non-lethal weapon, and probably can't hurt Invincible. Invincible, still surprised, tells the guy he doesn't even know what the guy did, and asks to confirm if the guy did something wrong. The guy breaks it to him that he just finished robbing a bank and has got a couple of money bonds in the briefcase he's holding. He explains to Invincible that it was just a simple, quick grab, and nobody saw him. You know, 'cause nobody actually looks up? Invincible tells him he understands that he needs the boots inside, but it's not necessary outside. If he had walked down the street with the briefcase, he probably wouldn't have noticed him. The guy then realizes how dumb he is. Invincible becomes curious about why he decided to rob a bank, since the stranger seems to be a reasonable guy. The stranger explains to Invincible that he and his girlfriend have been dating for a long time, and now that he's going to propose to her, he doesn't have the money to buy her the ring she deserves, especially after he spent so much developing the equipment he's using. Yet again, we see how dumb this guy is, since he actually invented the equipment. He should have sold it instead and used the money to get a ring, but he thought stealing would be easier and take less time. Tears start to drip down his face as he says he's not a bad guy, he doesn't want to go to jail, and Hannah, the girlfriend, is not going to marry him now. Invincible tells him to calm down, and Invincible offers to return the bonds since he didn't hurt anyone. Invincible tells him to go home, sell his tech, and marry his girl, and be happy. The stranger is very grateful to Invincible and really appreciates Invincible's help. He tells Invincible that his days as Gravitator are over, and Invincible makes a joke, saying Gravitator sounds like a floating potato. He appreciates Invincible again, and the two part ways, and Invincible returns the bonds. After some time, we get to see a little Easter egg of The Walking Dead, Rick Grimes and his best friend Shane. If you've seen The Walking Dead, you would probably appreciate this more. Sorry guys, I just had to include it in the story. We then see Invincible and Adam Eve going to a bank to stop a robbery, and much to Invincible's surprise, he sees a guy threatening the bankers to fill the bag with money. And this guy happens to be threatening them with the same equipment the stranger Invincible met earlier used. This new guy also calls himself Gravitator, which is kind of hilarious. The moment he notices Invincible, he points the gravity gun at Invincible, and much to Invincible's surprise, the gun actually hits him, knocking him back. Eve quickly restrains the guy, but he continues to shoot the gun aimlessly. Invincible charges at the guy, asking where he got the equipment from, and Eve easily removes the gravity gun from his hand. The guy tells Invincible that he's the inventor, he owns it, but Invincible isn't buying it. I mean, he already met the guy who invented it before. Invincible tells the guy to start talking, or he'll stop holding back. Later, we see Invincible at the stranger's place, which at this point I'm just going to call him Chris. Chris opens the door and is surprised to see Invincible and asks how Invincible found him. Invincible, disappointed, asks Chris, "After letting you off the hook for bank robbery, the next thing is for you to sell your tech to a guy who wants to rob banks?" Invincible says he thought Chris was going to sell it to a scientist or the military. Chris then asks if there's a hotline for that. He doesn't have access to these people. He's just a guy who makes things in his basement. Hannah interrupts their conversation, asking who Chris is talking to. Chris introduces Hannah to Invincible, and Invincible to Hannah. They shake hands, and Hannah makes a point, saying, Invincible looks funny up close, and that even though the costume is nice, he's just a guy wearing tight pajamas. Chris asks about the guy he sold the equipment to, and Invincible tells him he's on his way to jail. Now he has come to deal with the seller. Invincible tells Chris he could just take Chris to jail to meet his friend, but instead, Invincible asks Chris to come with him. Hearing this, Chris thinks he was actually going to jail and decides to tell his wife everything. But Invincible tells him he's not taking him to jail. Instead, he's taking him to a person who could buy his stuff and not use it to hurt people. Invincible flies him to the Pentagon. Chris meets with Cecil and Sinclair. Sinclair explains to him that his work is amazing, and he's looking forward to working with him. Chris asks if he's going to get paid for his work, and Sinclair assures him that he will be highly compensated. Cecil is surprised by the guy inventing the equipment just to get an engagement ring. Chris barely graduated high school and works in a factory where he stole the parts for the equipment. Cecil sees Chris as nothing but a genius, and such talent could have been locked away for life, but now his work here will save countless lives. Well, do you think Invincible made the right decision by bringing Chris to work at the Pentagon? Let us know in the comment section.